Alright everyone, it is the start of 2026, and with that, we will be playing Pokemon Red with Victreebel today. So let's get straight into it. Earlier in the week, we played through Pokemon Red with Vileplume on stream, and it is definitely a very good Pokemon as well, but Victreebel is going to have some slight improvements when it came to that run. Like for example, we're going to have far better stats than Vileplume did, and you want to look for yourself? Well, here you go. We have 80 HP, 105 attack, 65 defense, 100 special, and 70 speed. And for a comparison, Vileplume had 50 speed. All the other stats were fine for Vileplume, it's just the speed was a huge problem. So that means that Victreebel isn't going to have some of those issues that Vileplume had to deal with. But both Pokemon are in the medium-slow level-up group as well, which essentially means we don't really have to worry about levels, except for a minor thing which we'll talk about in the later parts of the game. But for right now, during the Brock split, as I pretty much head my way to Brock on pure minimum battles, you can see we start with 4 level 1 moves: Acid, Razor Leaf, Sleep Powder, and Stun Spore. Acid is going to be great coverage for the early game bug types, as well as Razor Leaf being a guaranteed crit move because of how critical hits work in Generation 1. And Sleep Powder in general is just very good because sleep is pretty busted in this game, meaning you have to take an entire turn just to wake up, which is nuts. And Stun Spore is just there, we're never going to use it. And then after that, we do get Wrap at 13, then Poison Powder at 15, and then Sleep Powder again, just to be safe. And I can definitely assure you, we are not going to be using Wrap or Poison Powder today. With Razor Leaf and Sleep Powder being our best moves by level up, can we get our other 2 moves from the TM side? Yes, we can. We get 2 of some of the best moves in the entire game: Swords Dance and Body Slam. If we combine that with Razor Leaf for coverage, as well as Sleep Powder to make setting up with Swords Dance easier, you can probably see how this Pokemon is going to completely destroy the game. I know some people have made arguments that Victreebel is one of the best non-legendary Pokemon in the game to do a solo run with, and they're definitely not wrong in that factor. And before I take on Brock, I do decide to take on the junior trainer here just for a little bit of quick XP, then we can go take on Brock. He leads off with Geodude. Razor Leaf is going to one-shot it, makes sense. Then the Onix is also going to be a one-shot. It does outspeed me and go for Bide though, but what's he going to do? And the fact that we have Acid on our moveset is going to really help out a lot for Route 3 and Mount Moon. There are a lot of Pokemon on this route that resist Razor Leaf, and even though Razor Leaf is a guaranteed crit move, it can only help us so much. So having a way to do neutral damage, or against the bug types, super effective damage because, you know, this is Gen 1. We can make our way through this route pretty dang quickly. And while I'm going through the grass, I don't end up finding a flyer while walking through, so I'm going to have to catch a Doduo later after I do the Celadon department store. That's fine though, it's not a big deal. Then inside Mount Moon, I only really just pick up the rare candy and the escape rope. You always want the escape rope in Red and Blue to get out of Bill's house, and you also want the rare candy just because it's a rare candy. Even though we're a very powerful Pokemon, you can't just skip rare candies at whim, because there is one disadvantage with the medium-slow level-up group that not a lot of people talk about. It's going to be very hard to plan for mid-battle level-ups. While I travel through Mount Moon, I'm going to quickly explain what I mean. You see, since we're going to be relying on Swords Dance a lot in the late game, we're not going to need it just for attack, we're also going to need it to badge boost our speed stat. And with how the badge boost glitch works is every time we modify our own stats, like using Swords Dance, the badge boost for our other stats will actually get reapplied. So Swords Dance will increase my speed by 12.5% every time I use it, maxing out at roughly a 37% increase in our speed from our initial starting point in the battle. And the problem is, if we level up during a battle, our badge boosts reset to what they're supposed to be, so all of that speed that I had gained from using Swords Dance will disappear. And since we're in the medium slow group, we're going to be leveling up quite quickly in the early and the mid game, so planning for these is going to be kind of a challenge. But I will like to say this is actually my second completed playthrough. My first completed playthrough had over 9 resets and 1 blackout, and one of those resets had me fighting the rival and Silph again because I didn't save before Sabrina. I knew that I could not make a Victreebel video with a run like that, so I decided to just do another run. Also in my first run, I never found a Paris either, which was another reason the run was so bad, but this time I did. So now that we're in Cerulean, we gotta ask ourselves the age-old question: should we fight Misty or Rival 2 first? Yeah, I think you know the answer to this one. I'm not even gonna play an intro. One shot the Staryu with Razorleaf, and one shot the Starmie with Razorleaf. If anything, the rival should get an intro, but I don't have one made, so let's just start the battle. Thankfully, due to our base 70 speed, we do outspeed the Pidgeotto, and I can get off a Sleep Powder and use 2 Razorleafs. I get to level 21, quickly knock out the Abra, then I can just continue on to the Rattata. Then the Charmander, I just stick to spamming Razorleaf. It's a very good move. And now with the rival defeated, we have to do the Route 24-25 Gauntlet of Trainers. Some people may call this the highest single cluster of mandatory trainers in the entire game, and while that is true, it doesn't really feel that bad because Razorleaf is one-shotting a lot of stuff that resists the move, like all the Pidgeys and the Nidorants. Plus, having Acid will help out for the final trainer in this route, the last with 2 Oddish and 1 Pidgey, because her Oddish will double resist Razorleaf, and having Acid to do neutral damage is going to be a huge help. Then as soon as I rescue Bill from his freakish experiment, I can use the Mount Moon escape rope to get back to Cerulean City, defeat the innocent bystander, get the TM for Dig, and make my way to the SS Anne. I'm going to be fighting pretty much one of the only mandatory optional trainers that I have to do. I'm going to fight this youngster with the Nidoran and get myself the TM for Body Slam. This is an absolute must for Victreebel, especially when you combine it with Swords Dance. And I know some people might jokingly say, well, you do get the HM for Cut anyway, why not teach Cut to Victreebel so you can save an optional battle? And I just think to myself, you know what, yeah, what a good idea. I'll have to set up an extra 2 Swords Dances every fight, but hey, I don't have to fight a single guy with a Nidoran. What a perfectly normal trade-off. And since this is also my second run, I actually know where I'm going to be using rare candies, and I actually skipped the rare candy on the SS Anne. I actually ended up getting one too many rare candies in my first run that I didn't end up using, so I'm going to be skipping this one. The rival, though, is going to be a complete joke today, and then we can go take on Lieutenant Surge. Surge leads off with his Voltorb. I use Razorleaf for the one hit. Same goes for his Pikachu, although he does hit me with a quick attack. Then on his Raichu, it outspeeds and goes for Growl. I hit it with Razorleaf. It's gonna have to be a 2-shot, and you know what Surge does on his second turn? He just uses an X-Speed when he's already faster than me. Good job, Surge. You totally earned that title of Gift Shop Manager. Man, beating Surge in under 13 minutes is a very good sign for a lot of Pokemon in this game. So many Pokemon are not capable of doing such thing. And then we can get ourselves the bike and head our way through the Route 9 Rock Tunnel Gauntlet. This gauntlet starts with the Wrapping Last Trainer with the 2 Oddish and the 2 Bellsprout, and I technically call it over after I defeat the Gambler with the Growlithe and the Vulpix just to the west of Lavender Town. And normally the only people here who would even cause problems are the Wrapping Last, or the Pokemaniac in Rock Tunnel with a Cubone and a Slowpoke, or maybe the Self-Destructing Hiker could cause an issue. None of those people cause any issues for Victreebel today. It's just that good. So let's head to Celadon City. There's not much here we need to get though. I'm just going to get the usual Super Repels on the 2nd floor. Then on the 4th floor, I'm going to buy 2 Pokedolls. I need 1 Pokedol to use on the Marowak in the tower. Then I need another one to get Mimic for the Elite Four. And I do buy a singular vitamin. And today's Vitamin of the Day is 1 Carbos. We need just a tiny bit of speed. 70 speed is still nice, but it's not enough. We actually do need this Carbos, as well as a couple of Overworld Carbos to meet some key speed thresholds in the late game. And with all that stuff obtained, I try to catch a Doduo, but I realized I actually didn't have any Pokeballs, so I go back to the department store, get some Great Balls, and then on the 3rd and final Great Ball, I finally catch the Doduo. I normally don't catch this, but it's very rare that I go through that grass on Route 3 without finding a flyer. It's pretty rare that happens. The rival in Pokemon Tower is actually very easy. It's also good that I held on to Acid because it's a good answer for the Execute. But the rival isn't too bad. The people coming up ahead are actually going to be far worse. There's this trainer right here. Some people call her Agatha Jr. because she has 2 Ghastlies. These Ghastly are incredibly terrifying. My best move against them is essentially Razor Leaf. What I'm going to do for safety is I'm going to put them to sleep and then 2-shot them. The reason I put them to sleep is because they could confuse me with Confuse Ray, they could paralyze me with Lick, and Nightshade can do decent damage. I do end up beating the 2 Ghastly trainer on the first try, and after her, there are 2 more channelers here with only 1 Ghastly. I don't normally bother saving before them because the chances of you losing to 1 Ghastly is a lot lower than you losing to 2. And I do end up being correct here. Not a single one of them caused me a reset. I can send the Marowak to hell for keeping Fuji hostage. Then I can rescue Fuji and get the Pokeflute. And now, the world is my cloister. I can either go down through Cycling Road down to Fuchsia, enter the Safari Zone, I could fight Erika, or head straight to Silph. There's a lot of different options here that could be the answer today. But what I end up doing first is actually fighting Erika first. You may be wondering why I'm fighting Erika first. Well, the reason I'm fighting Erika first is because I still have Acid on my moveset, but I do plan to get Swords Dance after this fight, and I'll be deleting Acid for it, so I may as well do Erika first. So let's see how she goes. Erika leads off with her own Victreebel. I'm going to 2-shot it with Body Slam, and because of her good AI, she's only going to spam Poison Powder on both of her Pokemon. Yeah, that was just bad. Alright everybody, next up we are going to head to Silph Co. There is a very valuable TM in there that I just mentioned. I'm going to head to the 7th floor, unlock this door right here, and get myself the TM for Swords Dance. This is going to be my best move, and I can use it to badge boost my other lower stats, such as my speed stat. You may think it's a good idea to attempt the rival while I'm here. However though, I did that in my first run, and without the speed boost from Koga's badge, you effectively don't stand a chance against the rival's Alakazam or his Charizard. So as soon as I get Swords Dance, I'm going to immediately dig out, head down to Fuchsia through Cycling Road, clear out the Safari Zone, grab a Carbos, and make our way to Koga and take him on. But I'm actually more terrified of his jugglers today. His second one that has the Drowsy and the Hypno actually gets off a very nasty kill on me, and because of that very nasty kill, I end up having to take a blackout here and come back. I was thinking of starting over, but to be fair, it's not like that blackout was really my fault. That was just some very bad luck. And this was my 7th or 8th attempt earlier that day. So I'm like, you know what? I've been playing Victreebel far too long. I'll just keep playing. But anyway, the whole time I've been saying that, Koga is an absolute joke. Because of his good AI, he's only going to spam poison moves. So he's really not that threatening. And now with access to Koga's badge boost to speed, I feel more than ready to take on the rival in Silph. The rival leads off with Pidgeot. I outspeed it by 11 points thanks to Koga's badge. I put it to sleep and use 2 Swords Dances. I can knock out the Pidgeot, the Execute, the Gyarados, and the Alakazam. I do level up before the Charizard, but this is completely expected because look at this. I outspeed the Charizard by 1 point. Those Carbos actually mattered, and I knew this from the start of the run. And besides, even if I undersped it, his Ember is so bad, it would have done like 1/3 of my health at most. It would have to get like a crit burn to even have a chance of winning. So yeah, I knew I was going to be fine. Giovanni is going to be a similar thing too. He's only going to spam poison moves for the most part because of good AI, so it allows me to set up a Swords Dance for free on the Nidorino and sweep his whole team with Body Slam and Razor Leaf. And now with Silph Co liberated, before we can dig out and cause massive property damage, we're actually going to head to the 10th floor and get another rare candy. It's actually faster to backtrack to this candy after Giovanni, instead of fighting the Machoke candy guy that's here. I could also get this other Carbos if I need it, but I actually do not need it. And now with Silph liberated, I can get myself the TM for Mimic and go take on Sabrina. Sabrina leads off with Kadabra. I outspeed it thanks to Koga's badge. Then on the Mr. Mime, I'm going to put it to sleep to set up some Swords Dances. It's generally safer to set up on the Mr. Mime instead. but I am going to have to kill the Mr. Mime with Razor Leaf because I actually didn't use an elixir on Body Slam, so I was going to have one Body Slam less for this fight than I would like, so I actually want to save one for Alakazam, so I just knock out the Mr. Mime with a special move instead. But at least it's Razor Leaf, so it's a very good move either way. We're almost at the end of the game, folks. We just got to go take on Blaine, Giovanni, then the final 5 trainers. But before we do any of that, we're going to take a nice little swim down to Cinnabar Island. I completely bypassed this fisherman right here with the 3 Sea King and 1 Goldeen. He's very good for training. In fact, I fought this guy in the Vileplume stream, but Victreebel just doesn't need it. I can enter the mansion, skip the Carbos, and just get the 2 rare candies. It's literally all I need. With all that done, let's go take on Blaine. I can put the Growlithe to sleep and set up 3 Swords Dances, and because of good AI, it's only going to go Ember or Agility, but I'm going to put it to sleep so it doesn't waste time with Agility. Then I don't level up the entire fight, and I can one-shot everything with Body Slam. Okay, now that Blaine's defeated, we just have Giovanni left, so let's see how he goes now. I don't need any setup for this fight. Razor Leaf the Rhyhorn, Razor Leaf the Dugtrio. I do underspeed the Dugtrio, so it could have hit me with Sand Attack, but fortunately it did not. Then I can use 2 Razor Leaves on the Nidos, and then 1 Razor Leaf on the Rhydon. And because of Giovanni's good AI, it's only going to spam Fissure, and if the Rhydon is slower, it will literally never work. I know this has definitely felt like a much faster paced video compared to previous runs, but with how good of a Pokemon this is, I don't want to waste your guys' time. But with Giovanni defeated, I do make a strategical choice. I'm going to use most of my rare candies to get to level 51 exactly. I'm not going to use any more rare candies. This is planned out for all my level ups during the league. I want to prevent, on the champion fight, from leveling up after the Rhydon but before the Charizard. Because if that happens, any potential badge boost that the Rhydon's going to give me with Tail Whip and Leer is going to be reset, allowing the Charizard to outspeed me and probably kill me with Fire Blast. So I hope you can see why I needed to prevent this. But anyway, since I used the candies before the rival, I will not get a mid-battle level up this entire fight, which will allow me to outspeed the Alakazam. However though, when I do defeat the Alakazam, I get a level up, but look at this. I am 3 speed faster than the Charizard. That is the Carboses. I'm going to keep mentioning this. I'm not using the Carbos for nothing. This was explicitly planned. But anyway, with the rival defeated, as we go through Victory Road, we need to think of what our plan is. Lorelei is a team filled with mostly water types. The Hiker exists. Agatha is going to be a pure lottery, and you'll see why when we get there. And Lance isn't really going to be that bad, neither will the champion. I'm quite confident to say that I think Agatha is going to be the hardest member of the Elite Four. So why don't we go find out? I heal up at the center, buy some full restores, and now we need to take on the first ever Final 5 trainers of 2026. Let's do this shit. The first member of the Elite Four is Lorelei, the Ice-type user. I'm going to put it to sleep so I can set up my 3 Swords Dances in peace. I could theoretically not put it to sleep because of her good AI. She has a 50-50 chance of either spamming Rest or Aurora Beam, and I'm not really that scared of Aurora Beam, but I need to have health to spare, and here's why. The cost of being level 51 for the rival means I will level up before the Jinx, allowing it to potentially outspeed me. But I'm going to bring this up for the millionth time. I outspeed the Jinx by 4 points. That was the Carbos. Vileplume did have to deal with an Ice Punch, but not Victreebel. Next up is the Fighting type Elite Four member, the Hiker. Yeah, there's not much of a point in setting up, just sweep his entire team with Razor Leaf. Next. Okay people, this is the hardest member of the entire Elite Four. Here is my plan. My only move to even hit these ghosts is Razor Leaf, and obviously that's not gonna do. So what I do is I actually teach Mimic in the place of Razor Leaf, and I'm going to snag Dream Eater from the very first Gengar. So on all of the ghosts, I need to put them to sleep with Sleep Powder, then use Dream Eater. And you may be thinking, well, why is this inconsistent? Well, it's inconsistent because her first Gengar will outspeed me unless I use Swords Dance to badge boost my speed. But if I use Swords Dance to badge boost my speed, if I get hit with Confuse Ray, I will hit myself for so much damage, so it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Plus, Agatha really does like switching her Pokemon around, so it could make Dream Eater fail or it could make Mimic fail. I do end up getting a second try Agatha, but in my first run, I had more than double those resets. So it was a very good thing this fight went pretty dang smooth. Next up is the Dragon-type Elite Four member, Lance. This fight is also going to be pretty simple. I put the Gyarados to sleep, but not before it hits me with a Leer, giving me a tiny bit of badge boost. Not like it'll really matter though. Then I use 3 Swords Dances, Mimic Hyper Beam, and begin the sweep. I one-shot the Gyarados, one-shot the Dragonairs. I could have just Body Slammed those, but Hyper Beam is actually required for the Aerodactyl because Body Slam at +6 will not one-shot, but Hyper Beam will. And then I do get the level up, but I do outspeed the Dragonite anyway, and I can just defeat it with Hyper Beam from there. And with that done, let's go take on the champion and finish this run. The champion leads off with Pidgeot. I'm not going to set up to +6, I'm only going to set up to +4, because +4 is all I need to outspeed the Alakazam, and that's perfect because right after the Alakazam, before the Rhydon, I level up to level 57, lose my badge boost, and I use 1 Swords Dance to get my speed to 169. This will allow me to outspeed his Charizard. And check this out, I outspeed, one-shot it with Body Slam, level up to level 58, and clock in. With a real time of 36 minutes and 3 seconds, with 1 reset, 1 blackout at level 58, with a game time of 2 hours and 23 minutes. So yeah, I hope you can see why I had to do a second playthrough here. If I had submitted my first playthrough, which I'll show you a screenshot for, my first run had a real time of 44 minutes and 3 seconds with 9 resets, 1 blackout at level 61 with a game time of 2 hours and 29 minutes. So yeah, I hope you can understand why I could not for the life of me use this run as my video, because so many people would tell me, dude, this is one of the best Pokemon in Gen 1, how could you give it a run like this? So I decided, you know what, I should probably give it a different run, and this new run is definitely more justified for a Pokemon of this kind. And if we take a look on the leaderboard, Victreebel actually earns the 2nd spot overall. It even outperformed my 2nd place run of Blastoise. It couldn't beat Alakazam though, Alakazam is just far too good. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this video and Pokemon Red for this week. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more, and be sure to follow me on my socials or support the channel through YouTube memberships. YouTube members not only get access to the patch files for all the Mega Evolution Pokemon we do on streams, but you also get access to members-only uploads, which mainly consists of whenever I re-rank a Pokemon in my Discord, or for first attempt playthroughs. I actually recorded this run you're seeing in the Discord, and I will upload it to the channel as members only, the raw, unedited, final run that got put in the video, and you'll even hear me chatting with other people. So yeah, it's a different kind of vibe than the streams, but I hope it's something you enjoy. If you want to see it, become a member today. But anyway, next week we're going to go to Pokemon Moon. Yes, I know we just had 7 Moon days in a row for Daily December, but you know what? I'm having a lot of fun with the game, let's just do another week. The 2 Pokemon we're doing next week are actually the box art legendaries, Solgaleo on the live stream for Tuesday, and Lunala, which will be a video for next Friday. You're going to want to see these runs, trust me. But anyway, I will see you all next time.